Hello, everyone. Welcome, heroes, to our March recap where we talk about the previous month. And this time we're talking about March. So just to kind of give you guys an idea of what we do here is if you're kind of new to the hero tier, we talk about all of the shows in the month. We recap all of the nitty-gritty stats from social to YouTube to Twitch and all of that jazz, as well as Patreon. And we just cover some of our business and how we run Roll4It. So if you're interested in those types of things, that's what this show's about, or this thing is about. And as always, you can leave us feedback down in the comments on Patreon and let us know if there's things that you'd like us to change or a format that you'd like us to change. But to introduce what we each do on the team here as the Roll4 admin team, I obviously am Margaret Crone. I handle all of our marketing mostly, so social media, that kind of stuff is the primary thing that I work on, but there's a long list of other stuff. And of course, moving on to EE.
Hi, I'm Mary Elysium. I'm CEO, CFO, legal, HR, sometimes production of assets. I don't know.
And of course, we've got Bentham.
I am the CTO, and I do technically stuff like managing the Discord and the Patreon, doing things like making Patreon posts like this one.
Oh,
there.
Fourth wall.
I don't know where I am on the overlay, but I'm just going to point up and there'll be a title up there. And
it's directly above your head.
Yeah, perfect.
There you go. wait, let's all do it. Like, I point this way. Maggie, if you point the other way.
That way?
Other way. And then, Bentham, if you point up.
This is the same way as you on my screen, by the way.
Directly above your head, not to the side.
Okay.
Finger guns.
What are we pointing at?
It's the logo.
The topic, I think. We're pointing at the topic.
No, we're pointing at the logo. We've got the little book.
Oh, the logo.
Yeah.
Okay. So first things first is we'll talk about our shows this month. The first thing we're going to talk about is Sounds of Silence. And I'll let Bentham take it away first to talk about who were our supporters.
We had 2 supporters for episodes of Sounds of Silence in March, and I believe there were actually only 2 episodes of Sounds of Silence, maybe 3, but I think there was just the 2, because we had lots of one-shot shenanigans. So the supporters for Sounds of Silence were episode 25 was supported by Mia Zilla, and episode 26 was supported by Draco Malfoy, the Waltzing Witcher. Because I've now allowed people to submit exactly what names they go by in the things.
Not exactly the name. If you put something in there that we don't want to use, we will just not use it. Just
well, yes, of course. That goes, but for any submission-based things. If you say something dumb, we will not include it. But
I don't know. We used Ren Chitinous.
Or inappropriate.
We did use Ren Chitinous. We haven't used Salmagundi Whipple, but we've used Ren Chitinous from the NPCs.
So yes, thank you for supporting Sounds of Silence. It has gone. I think it's our longest show that has gone.
Longest show in one single season, I believe.
Our longest season. There you go.
Our longest season of a show, which is, it says a lot about what's going on with BTM, as well as how much people have enjoyed it. But of course,
over half a year. It just hit the over half a year mark.
It has to come to a culmination of some sort for the story, and it's coming close. Currently, we're recording this on the 7th of April, and we have 3 more episodes left. So
it's coming to a close. I guess the close will be discussed in the next recap, because it'll be done then, and we'll be on to the next thing.
It'll be in our April recap. So
it's
just in general, Sounds of Silence has been stable as far as viewership goes. The YouTube, we'll talk about YouTube later, but it's still performing really well. Even episode 1 is performing very well.
It's worth noting it here because it's not in the YouTube section, because that's more about things that hit the top. But it's the second most watched video in the last 28 days.
Oh yeah. Okay, that's right. It won't be talked about there. So yeah. It's still performing very well, and so from our perspective, it has been great. And obviously, I think hopefully maybe the Bloodlines 2 announce kind of boosted it a little bit.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
And that's what I'm thinking as well. And so hopefully we continue to see progress on that end. We know that people really want to see season 2 of that, so there's potential that may or may not happen. You never know.
A lot of potential it may, not much potential it won't. There are chances it won't, but it's a lot. I'm just gonna keep showing your support, because the support we've seen so far says do more.
Yeah, and that's a big thing, is like when we see people watching, that means that that's something that we should, you know, vote with your eyes, I guess.
And continuing to like push up and introduce new people later into the show. Like, that's one thing we saw with Layla, which is great. People coming in halfway through. The same thing's true for VDM. We did see people influxing like partway through and being like, oh, I heard about a VDM show and stuff. That is one thing that we also really like to hear. People joining even partway through and willing to catch up and all that and really getting into it. So that's great.
And obviously the people watching this are some of our hardcore fans, as far as like, you know, you watching everything that we're doing. You're watching us ramble about a month worth of content. So I would say that you're pretty dedicated to what we're doing here at Roll4It. And I think I put together like a sponsorship deck, because we're going to be looking at some sponsors for stuff. Obviously VTM is a huge one for us because it's done really well. So it's easy for us to like showcase to our sponsors that these are like, this is something to support. And
one thing worth noting is that the sponsorships and stuff is mostly to do stuff above and beyond the stuff we're funded by you on Patreon. Partly stuff like we want to do like maybe increasing cast pay while we have sponsorships and so on, or running more stuff or bigger stuff, as opposed to actually just, you know, using it to be like line R3 pockets or whatever. That's part of the point. Maggie actually came up with a really good like slogan, effectively, which is like, as opposed to like a slogan for like PR and stuff, is like may the roll of dice be ever in your favor. I like Maggie's like core ethics slogan, which was passion, integrity, and then what's the last one? It began with
inclusivity.
Inclusivity.
So you really liked it.
Yeah, passion. I mean, it's 2 a.m. Well, 1:30 a.m. here on the 8th. So passion, inclusivity, and integrity. I really like that. So yeah, just wondering, when we're mentioning sponsorship, we're not meaning like sponsoring and getting all the money in our pockets. We mean like increasing all cast pay, or doing more stuff or bigger stuff that we already do.
We have never done that. So I think, you know, we pay everyone fairly for the work that they do, and all of the extra money we have, we put together for things like adding soundtracks to things, or you know, paying for a little bit extra art, or Roll4It Con, that kind of stuff. So I think all of it's going back into what giving you guys and gals.
I know a fair few shows that aren't us, when they get sponsorships, effectively just the sponsorship money goes to the person who owns the show or whatever. I kind of see this as more like a partnership with everyone who is on the show. It might not necessarily be structured that way, just because that would be really complicated meetings, and I'm not sure we have enough slots on Zoom, but like you kind of get the gist. So
and I guess to go on that, I mean, obviously this is more like Patreon-y things that we're talking about here, is like it's not even Patreon, it's more business, I think. From our perspective, I think that we want to do a lot of cool things that we can't do yet, because we have to meet Patreon goals in order to reach those things. And so there's some stuff that like we would want to add onto that Patreon goals, but like we wouldn't be able to make those without large groupings of money. And so sponsors are possibly the way to make those things come to fruition for us.
It's kind of like, basically we've got the track of the more Patreon support means we can unlock this, and then we've got another track of, well, also we can unlock this, and this with sponsorship stuff too.
Yeah. Even if the stuff is like our internal stuff of like increasing cast pay, because I know that at home you don't really see much of the consequence of that, or at least you don't think you do. Cast pay allows you to have people who are more regular because they can afford to attend, as opposed to having to go do jobs and other stuff. And it also means that people are happier and more pleased to be around because they're not always worrying about pay or don't think they're valued.
A majority of our Patreon income goes to the
vast majority,
or art. It's like cast or art. Those are like all of our pay. I think we're actually we're negative right now, right? Technically,
we are over the Patreon and dipping into the excess that we get, which we normally put aside. This excess, like tips and stuff, is normally put aside for stuff like Rollcon, because that's a big one-off expense. Currently, we're dipping into that for our month-to-month running costs of the 2 shows that we have.
Yeah. Which is something we're discussing internally. So you might get a Patreon post later down the line that's talking about some changes in order to make sure that we are not going over budget.
There won't be major changes or anything. Like we're pretty well covered. We've got it pretty well structured. And I'm an asshole as a CFO. Like I think that there should be everything that's regular should cover everything that's regular, and then any excesses we get that fluctuate should be extra that we can then put aside for things. Currently, we're running in the negative and we're running through those excesses, but that's the reason that they're there.
Yeah, and I think we've also tried to be really smart with our income to make sure that we're, obviously cast pay is like first, and then paying our artists is like top priority. So I think those are the two things that we always want to make sure, even if that cuts into our pay per se. So yeah, we're doing all right. But we want to make sure that we continue as we move forward. And I think sponsors will help us reach some of the goals that we want to reach outside of that. So moving on to our show that came to a finale, which is Stargate.
Yeah, that was a tangent. On to the next show.
Sorry, it's a long tangent.
It was a tangent. It's a good thing to talk about.
Mentioned, I think it's very important to say like what sponsorship means to us as a group. Because I think it's very different from how a lot of other people treat their sponsorship, and I think that's very important to who we are as a group and how our
sponsorship can so often be dealt with in a terrible way that people are concerned about it. It makes sense.
Some people do weird things with their businesses, so we strive to be like one of the top paying tabletop RPG shows too. So
yeah. I mean, we can't be the top paying just because there are some bigger ones that have a lot more money. But as a percentage of our income,
there are some bigger ones who do not pay.
There's a lot of big ones that don't. But as a percentage of our income, out of like the top 100 tabletop shows, we're probably really high up as a percentage of like the actual income, because we pay the vast majority as cast pay, and then a lot of the rest is artist pay. Yeah. There you go. Top tip.
Some people don't pay their artists very well at all.
Pay them in exposure, and then they die of exposure.
It's true. People die of exposure.
Oh God, I don't know if you guys saw. This is kind of another tangent. I don't know if you saw. There was like some Twitter stuff going on about some artists not being paid very well, and they were being very public about it.
Nope, but I see that every day because I have for exposure on my Twitter feed as someone I follow, and they tweet every day about people being like, "I want you to make me a 3D holographic picture that's 200 million pixels," and like, "What's your budget?" Nothing. So I get that all the time.
I couldn't follow that account. That'd just wear me down day to day.
You do realize that that's basically my life.
Yeah, I have enough sad things to see when I'm following you on Twitter. You keep me aware of all the sad things that are happening in the world. Anyway, moving on to the next show.
Stargate.
Moving on to the next show, Stargate. There was only I think there was only one episode in the month in the end, and it was episode 19, supported by Kirby. Thank you very much, Kirby.
Yes,
Seeing off the show as it comes to its close.
Stargate I loved those characters. It was a lot of fun. I think that it's interesting because I think all of us had a big fan. What do you call it? Like, I want to say fanfare, but we all like really enjoyed that world, the Stargate world, and like I think it could go forever because it's one of those games or it's one of those, not the game, but like it's one of those worlds where like you can go from week to week to like a new place, right? It sets itself well for a show.
I liked how much it felt like a 90s TV show and how we did it. That was always kind of cool. Occasionally we would even reference like 90s TV like production jokes of like, here's the cold open and stuff like that. That's always fun.
I do not know what you mean. Sorry, it took me a few seconds to get that character. It's such whiplash to my current character.
I love the it's completely different. I think we're all playing very different characters, and I think that shows the extent of people's acting range, which I think is really cool.
The closest is probably actually I'm the furthest away because you've got Frey, which is relatively close to Malik in that he's incompetent occasionally, but he means well. Kang and Spark have that they're competent in the same, but everything else is pretty different. Burnout and Rain both really want to protect everyone else at the cost of themselves.
I feel like your character was always trying to like comfort people. You try to comfort Rain. There's some commonality. They say that like you take a portion of yourself whenever you're putting it into a character, when you're creating a character. So there's always like every character has a little bit of you.
Oh yeah, but it's not the same bit that goes into every character. But that's correct. Like, obviously, that caring definitely isn't in Zach, for instance.
I don't know.
Really?
Zach's too busy
From
putting out
Camille's
everyone's
perspective-
fires to feel anything.
Yeah, well, he's kind of it's a little bit of a, you know.
I feel that Zach right now, it's like, have you seen this little candle, like, put out the thingies that have got, like, that little thing that goes over the candle, and it kind of takes you upstairs?
You know what, they have a name. I know what you're
I can't
talking
remember what they're
about.
called. Candle snuffers.
Yeah,
Like, I feel that Zach's, like, a snuffer that's just gone into a room, and the room's on fire, and it's just looking around like...
Snuff. No, it's the bits of the fire.
Sometimes
Stuff again.
Sometimes you gotta let nature take its way.
Wow,
Zach-
you do not sound like a Camarilla right there. That sounds...
We're clearly slipping away from our
Stargate,
and Stargate characters here.
So Stargate, I think was really, really fun. I don't know if you guys have anything else you want to say on that fact or on that side.
No,
of
I felt it had a good like ending. I got to kill an Ashrak. That was easy.
It was a
Because
cool send-off.
machine guns.
Infinite action dice. We discovered the secret just in time.
I mean, not infinite, but what was it? We came up with we could get. Like,
It was that we can spend them all at once, and so it
we
became.
could get 12 because you could give me 4 and I could get doubled 4s. Yeah.
But then at the end we had like none left.
Yeah, but that
Well,
was the
yeah.
point. That's the end of the episode, right?
Yeah,
Didn't
I
matter.
know, but I think there was a roll that someone wanted to, and we didn't have any left. Or it was Rain. He was like, I don't have any more.
Because I
Yeah.
can't hand them out. It's my thing, and I don't have any.
Yeah, I think that I love the setting of Stargate, but I'm not sure about the rules. That ultimately is how I feel about that game.
I like the rules, in so much as I liked. Action Dice was a great system. Action Dice I absolutely loved. Action Dice was really nice. It gave you a bit of.
It reminded me of the
ability
drama
to-
point system, though.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's nothing. It wasn't as.
But it also means that
extensively-
like you've got things that activate crits, but also things that can be used to increase numbers and things that can use other stuff, and you can debate whether it's useful or not. Whereas drama points, like you don't have that crit thing to activate. But yeah, a bit like drama points. I like that combat was faster than D&D because it felt more like a firefight. You didn't have a lot of abilities to look through in combat as generally.
which made it faster.
Yeah, which meant that you went bam, 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 you do your things and you shoot and all that. I didn't like the rest of the rules as opposed to D&D. Like, a lot of the, you get a +1 and a minus thing and a thingy over here and a thing over there. But in this situation, if you're doing this, you get a plus D4, but it's a D8 if you do this. And it was like, okay, that's a bit much. And the layout of the feats. I love the idea of modular character creation where your class ranks are pretty bare bones and you get to then build them from feats. But the feat layout was terrible.
And the
It made it really-
requirements for them were weird. I don't know.
No, the requirements weren't weird. It's just that they had skills which were weird.
It made it so I couldn't take any combat
That-
feats whatsoever.
No offense, that is because you pick scientists, and scientists aren't meant to use the fighting feats. That's every
Yeah,
other,
but I'm
every other
also
class.
like, it doesn't make sense for like a pararescue person to not have.
Yeah, but that's your race. Okay, like equivalent. You picked pararescue as a race, and then you pick scientist. And you use like your pararescue who went into a job as a scientist. If you really want to do the fighting as well, probably pick up like a level in something else, and that would have given you the +1 to your attack bonus and would have pushed you to a 3. It's because scientists are built entirely around not being fighters. That's everything they get is
Yeah.
non-fightery.
I don't know. I guess it just depends because like I had really high dexterity, which is usually actually pretty good for shooting.
It's
so
used
I don't know.
on shooting.
There was-
It means you're like
There
naturally
was some
good, but you're not
weird
trained.
stuff where I was like, this should because I spent so much points in this, I should also be able to get this one thing, you know. But
I feel
and
it- I feel
because
it.
the whole combat scenario is like, it is all very much like straightforward, you know, like everyone has weapons and you shoot them. Like it's
A lot of the ability to be good with weapons comes from the feats. A lot of the excess there is really down to the feats and stuff. And I think that was well put into the thing. Scientists were very niche though, compared to a lot of the other classes where there was a lot of spread. Soldier was bam, and scientist was bam.
yeah, no, it forced me into only skills,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Like if you
Which is
wanted to
fine
do the
if that's
pararescue
like
thing,
how they're building the system.
yeah, if you want to do the pararescue thing, I'd be like, honestly, take one level of soldier and just get the attribute boost from that for like your bonuses rack and all that.
Yeah, I might have built it differently had I like once we got a really good understanding of it, we were already too far along in my opinion. So
yeah, that's the problem with a system like that, is that really initially at character creation you're not going to understand the very like basics or whatever, which is why at character creation I was going through a lot of I think I might get this at level 6, and I was like, why are you planning level 6? I'm like, you need to plan ahead for all the requirements. It's just a thing of the system.
No, I had already started planning ahead, and I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to have to go down the line of skills.
Effectively, once you hit level 6, you could have got like the elite class or whatever, the prestige class, and you could have gone for prestige class that is more fighty if you wanted to go.
Yeah, no, I ended up going down the medic path because we had already enough people covering it.
Yeah, it was really good synergy. Yeah.
We did have good synergy. We got shit done, man.
Yeah, that is the one downside about the feat system, though, is it means you have to plan really far ahead, which can be quite painful to a first-time player.
Yeah. I guess moving on to our next one. Stargate was awesome. We hope that you all enjoyed it. We hope you enjoyed our poster that we put out last month. That was kind of like a farewell to Stargate. It was real. I'm definitely framing I need to frame all of our monthly posters. They're so good. The feels trains. Moving on to our new show, which is Masks. I'll let Bentham take it away first.
Best intro ever, yes. Episode 1 was supported by Roll4It's Resident Smoke Monster. Thank you very much.
Yay! Thank you.
And that's the only one that was supported. There was so many different things to pick from with February. There's still another show to go after this one.
I know people were shocked that the other episodes of Mask were not supported. I'm like, I don't think
all of them in April are.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Itself first, and then people knew.
Yeah. People are always a bit iffy about new things, so.
Absolutely love Stormforce. I have been enjoying the crap out of all of the characters, and the system is, I mean, it's stuff that it's a system that I know really well, so I love it.
It's a better balanced Monster Hearts.
Yep.
It's not it's just all about XP. It's less about harm, more about how you actually feel, which is Monster Hearts.
Yeah, there's a problem that I had with Monster Hearts that Masks fixes, which is in Monster Hearts, it's all about emotions and interacting with each other and drama, and then the harm track is purely about physical damage.
Yeah.
And you get through all of the rules, and you get to the bit where it explains harm, and genuinely, when reading the rules, I'm like, okay, so harm is physical or emotional, right? And then I read it, it's like, no, it's just physical.
Yeah. No,
so how do you... What?
Me and Bentham had a long discussion about game mechanics in different games and how they apply recently, and that was one of the things that came up, and we were like, yeah, this is just a dumb system. Looking at Monster Hearts now after having played it and played some others, it's so weird that it very much goes emotions, emotional stuff, into character play, all these different abilities, and there's no way of tracking how you...
though.
Oh, it's good.
Oh yeah, Monster Hearts is good.
I prefer the mask system.
I prefer the mask system.
I love the classes.
I love the condition system. Like, it's so good. A lot of games have done conditions before, but I think that they did it really well, and how it interacts with your other your basic moves and stuff like that, I think is really cool. And it makes you as a player, like if you're really into role play acting, you know how to act, right? Because like when you're afraid, you're like, here are the negative things that I get. So when I'm acting those situations out, I also should apply that, you know. It kind of
the way they've written the conditions as well, like
think about it.
There's only 5 of them, yet the 5 apply to pretty much all the basic reactions you'd have to different events. So they are pretty well written, they're pretty well applied. Honestly, if I was to play Monster Hearts again, I'd probably try and port the Monster Hearts characters into the mass system.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Add a condition system to Monster Hearts.
Yeah, if Monster Hearts 3 is ever made, it should be made with just the masks condition system ported into it. That's all.
Or something similar.
Twice as good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
I
more
like the
about
idea of a
physical
harm tracker plus like an emotional tracker.
There's more about physical damage in Monster Hearts, because so I'd probably say like add an extra box which is physically hurt or something.
But why though? Because in Monster Hearts you're a bunch of monsters in a school who are pretending to be like not monsters. Whereas in Masks, you're superheroes fighting monsters, and yet Masks is the one that is about emotional damage.
Masks is no one dies. Genuinely.
Yeah,
unless you really, really
you
want
don't
to.
die unless you want to.
And you
like,
really want to. Like, it's
Well,
barely
it's the same situation in Monster Hearts, though.
But
When
in
your
Monster
harm
Hearts,
fills
you've got
up,
a
you
lot more
choose to
about injuring people physically and actually doing physical things to people, whereas that's very, very rarely mentioned in Mass at all.
But I think it shouldn't be. It should be about the emotional damage.
Yeah, but I think you should also be able to just put like one extra thing, which is just actually hurt or something.
I'm gonna reel us back in.
Hi, this
We
is
always
the
say
Game
we're gonna
Mechanics
try to make our
podcast.
after shows faster because we like E
don't.
has a meeting with Bub after the show, and we always end up going longer. But I think in general we're enjoying the system. Obviously, our after shows, if you've been watching them, have been really long because we're really enjoying like talking about our characters, talking about the end of session, talking about leveling up, and just all of the situations that happen. It's
But
great.
yeah, I do have to talk to
We
Bob
need more
afterwards
viewership
about
for
Project
it,
Song. Secret Project Song.
Was the was
moving
the after
on-
show for episode 3 more than an hour? Did we break that barrier?
Can't remember. One of them hit an hour, 5 minutes.
Yeah, we were almost okay. Yeah, we've managed to get hour-long after show stuff basically because we
Next
just
thing.
keep wanting to talk about cool things.
Next thing
But the
is
next one,
our Mage Triple Ricochet thingamabob. We have part 2 and part 3. I'll let
our
other
3
people-
shots. Yeah, we had both parts in the same month, so it's up there with the rest of the shows as a multi-part show we're having. And yes, part 2 was supported by Wapti Doda, and part 3, the presumed finale, was supported by Miss Amy Hoyle.
I have a feeling it's gonna keep going.
I'll be
Quite
honest.
possibly, there's a lot of unresolved stuff.
I am very pleased that everyone liked the rules I hacked together so much.
Oh yeah.
That's cool.
Everyone says that
People
they
on
love it.
Reddit were discussing it too, so I think like and people in general have been watching. Like we've seen the viewership for it, so we know people really like Mage. We know people want it to be like a full show on its own. We have plots and plans, people, but now is not the time per se.
We've also seen people talking about it in, the Discords, etc., which is always really good to see that people continue to talk about a show, even if it's like a one-shot, two-shot, 3 Ricochet, whatever. So thank you.
Thank you for letting me play a character on that show, because oh my god, I loved that character so much. I was so sad it's only a one-shot character, but I also went overboard because I knew it was a one-shot character. Ugh.
Yep.
Madness.
It was your plot arc was also very circular and self-fulfilling. Like it did the beginning, it did the middle, it foreshadowed the end, and it hit the end, and it was like that is
The line that
a complete
Bentham had
character.
in the end was
Yep.
perfect.
That was fun.
That was a good line. Yeah. I enjoyed that so much. It was really fun. And a very different character from any character I think I've ever played, actually, because she was creepy AF.
You've done creepy before.
I don't think I've ever played a creepy ass character like that.
You did a child vampire.
Okay, that's a different type of creepy.
True.
Okay.
Yeah. Creepy but different type.
Oh yeah, she was like psycho creepy kid.
She was like what's her name? Rose Darrington. Well,
Who's Rose Day?
I could kill you.
Monster Hearts.
Oh no, she was creepier than that because if she had a tantrum, she'd just murder.
I don't find that as creepy. I find that as less creepy, more like dangerous. Creepy for me is like they don't act, and you're worried about what they could, as opposed to ever having actually acted.
Yeah, I think for her, it's creepy with actual real consequence of you could possibly die. So it's creepy scary.
What comes after Mage?
What comes after Mage is our legend tier stuff, actually. So we had Bub who did his Pathfinder game, and it looks like Bentham did a little recon. I did see a bunch of people posting stuff.
Yeah, I made some notes. I forgot to ask him about the details of it, but I do have things that were mentioned in the Legends chat, which he's now reading. So yeah, the basic plot, as I understand it, was that there was a town of 300 people who were deathly ill, and they were sent there to, I think, get some sort of important ingredient or something to help with healing them, but maybe there was a little bit more afoot than that. And apparently, it ended up being part 1 of 2. They're going to be continuing it this month. And so they didn't actually do any, I don't know if they did any fighting in this one or not, but apparently they all made it through the episode, but they think they might die as soon as the next one starts. So maybe some sort of cliffhanger happened there.
Is this the first time we've done a 2-parter for Legend tier?
I did my Stores Not Numbers stuff, and that was kind of...
It was a connected 2 one-shots as opposed to this being an actual 2-parter.
Yeah, this is straight up like 2-month 2-parter thing going on.
Also, Bentham did have the best PC/NPC in his 2-parter.
Because it was played by you?
Yeah, because it was a psychic robot.
Anyway, apparently, well, this one has some NPC animals as well. Apparently, they had 3 pets in their team. They had Hawk the Lion, Viper the Hawk, and Lion the Viper.
That's not confusing at all.
Yeah, I'm sure they were easily able to keep track of whose pet was whose. And how on earth that worked. And then also, the one other thing I have is that apparently at some point there was some sort of thing about Team Drunk Elf. I don't know what that was. Presumably there were 1 or more elves in the party who got drunk and were awesome. I don't know. I will try and get more information next time.
No, I want our conjecture. I want our conjecture. Less information, more conjecture.
We have to know. Yeah, we'll put together like what the plot from like the tiny bits of notes we pick up. There we go.
Exactly.
That's the plan.
I think that there were 2 elves on the team who got drunk, and the 3 pets just very, very confused.
Also, one of the pets was a lion.
Yeah,
it's fine.
That's fine. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Sure. What do you do when you go to a tavern? You sit him in the corner with a bone.
You could shrink him and have
outside.
I had a battle cow.
Yeah, we just kept him hitched to the cart because what else were we gonna do?
And then we went to the stables and went, "Would you mind looking after our cow?"
I had 2 bears as a druid. Like I was a level 21 or 22 druid back in the day, and I could also turn into a bear. But I had 2 dire bears, and we would always just leave them outside of the city. Like when we went into a big city. Like we would set up a camp outside of the city and then go in.
In D&D 5e,
a lion hawk.
Apparently, the same people who name a viper hawk, a hawk viper, and a viper lion. But I know that some of the biggest creatures you can get, or some of the most weird creatures you can get that are still perfectly normal for a ranger in D&D 5, are things like a giant badger. It's like, sure, bring your giant badger into the town, and that's a perfectly normal animal companion. But
most of the time you don't like bring them everywhere.
Everyone I know having played has, and the GMs just go, I just have to hand wave it. Fine. Everyone looks a bit weird, and it's like, what, okay.
Or maybe
sure.
it's like, maybe it's a world where there are large, crazy creatures everywhere, which is kind of cool too.
Maybe, but every GM I've seen has gone, they look at you a bit weird, and they're just like, just don't let it bite stuff. Sure.
Don't let it bite stuff.
Oh dear.
Okay.
That's the one shot. That's all that I know happened in that one shot.
Yeah, and so we'll move on to further into our Patreon stuff, and I'll actually let Bentham just continue.
Cool Patreon stuffs that have been happening. The March poster is now out, and it was the Stargate one, the Stargate Vegas one, to send off the show. Everyone just together, relaxing after maybe being kidnapped, probably, or maybe it was before kidnapping. It's confusing. It doesn't matter.
So
just
now,
having a nice time.
Thanks to that picture, Garak apparently now has a braided beard.
Huh,
I wrote that Garak's hair is braided and he has a goatee, and I think that came out as Garak has a braided, hairy goatee.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't mind. I like having different character interpretations. I never envisioned it as that, but sure, let's go with that.
It works. And shall we say what the next poster will be?
We don't have to give details, but we could tell them what it is.
Tell them the show.
Wait.
Yeah. Hint.
I think he's given a clue there.
This is a clue.
In case you're listening and not watching, he held up a mask. You can probably put the...
That's really obvious.
What else was I supposed to say?
Nothing.
You could have said, like, he put something on his eyes. He colored his eyes. I don't know. Yeah, so I'm excited for what's gonna come out of that. We've already seen some thumbnails of the art. So.
Oh yeah, they were good thumbnails.
Yeah.
And speaking of art, we've also had part 3 of the Cheese Quest comic come out. We're getting closer and closer to the cat battle with the flat cat. And, oh, wait.
Flat cat battle.
Oh, so it's a flat cat. Okay.
My favorite part in this one was, I think this is this the one where Bubba's getting like rolled and like he's like, I'm dizzy.
As they roll him back to the mouse hole. And then it explains visually why Bubba couldn't get through the mouse hole, because they rolled him sideways and he was too wide.
They're like he's stuck.
That was before it went unwholesome. That's a wholesome rolling, as opposed to 2 or 3 episodes later, where they roll Bubba across a field of poor ants, killing them as they escape flinging fire at people.
That's probably not going to be immortalized in the comic.
No, because
it's not in episode 1, so yeah, that was horrifying for Bubba too. He went into like a depression because that was his friend. That's his friend's like family.
I'm sad.
Yeah, I was like, this is the Bubba arc. Bubba, your little ant companion, it turns out to be a princess, and all these ants are worshipping her. And Blue Jay, what do you want? You want to set everyone on fire? I can't stop you. Okay, you're setting everyone on fire. Yeah, they all hate you now, Maggie.
I can't believe that. That was nuts.
That's genuinely how that went. I'm not. Those of you haven't seen it, that's exactly how that scene went.
Sometimes, like your fellow player characters fuck it up.
I mean, all the time.
Oh yeah, that's all.
That's also why there weren't any magic items in that campaign, because the ants were the trade caravan, and you were able to get like magic items.
There was so much fat loot in that thing.
Yeah,
we could have had like 2 or 3 cool things.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's the Cheese Quest. We hope you all are enjoying it. The cute wholesomeness that's about to change.
And moving on from that, it's time for everyone's favorite segment.
There's nothing from the lawyers yet.
It's the lawyers are slow segment. It's the Trademarks take all of time segment.
I mean, it would help if you didn't shut the entire government down for like a month and a half, because Dad stopped doing things.
We haven't got anything
now,
back.
Hopefully, they'll get back to us in a couple weeks.
I have an email outstanding. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see if they reply. And
then we'll have Spark Love merch. No? Or is it Love Spark?
No, Spark Love makes sense. We have been under providing our Spark puns. We need to make up for lost time.
No, it was what was the jazz jazz grunge? That was our band name. You remember?
No, it was.
No, that wasn't.
It was
band
Love
name.
Spark or Spark Love or something like that.
No.
Oh right, yeah.
Was it?
That's why people were tweeting at us with it.
I want to say jazz punk, but I think that's a video.
No, jazz
game.
Grunge was our genre. I love that scene because me and Josh managed to time it perfectly that we both went.
It was brilliant.
Just grunge.
Like, he was like jazz
grunge.
And they're like, jazz grunge. Oh.
And it turns out it exists. So there you go.
Apparently, we were all like, what?
Jazz grunge merch incoming. Probably not. That seems like a terrible idea. Anyway, moving on from everyone's favorite segment to the patron count, the number of patrons from month to month. This month, using Graphtron because Patreon lies and is wrong and doesn't know what it's doing, we have gone from 637 patrons to 634, so that is 3 less, which isn't too bad because we had like 7 more or more than that.
Did any of them leave a reason why they left?
Often they do, and it's usually just they pick one of the categories.
My financial circumstances have changed.
That's everyone's favorite one, which makes sense.
Yeah. Anytime there's like feedback, we usually, we look over it and we think about the situation.
Yes. If you cancel your pledge for whatever reason or reduce it, I don't know if you still get the option, then fill in the exit survey and we will read it.
Do you get that if you upgrade your pledge?
No, none of you upgrade.
I'd like someone to like upgrade their pledge and then be like, my financial circumstances have changed.
There's specifically exit survey, so it might only be if people cancel their pledge entirely.
Yeah, I think it's if you cancel only.
I don't know.
There you go. Next person who upgrades their pledge to go to Legend tier, because we have a Legend slot left, please like comment on our Patreon saying my financial circumstances have changed.
That was a good segue.
Yeah. Hi.
Yeah, there you go. That was the final part of the Patreon segment.
You know that the next Legend spot gets you into a Pathfinder game with Bub. So if you're interested, if that interests you, yeah.
Does it?
Well, no, it won't because
it'll be the one after.
They sign up this month, then they get.
Yeah, this will be for April, or right.
Because they sign up in April for the payment of May, which is the stuff in May. Yeah. Hi.
Right. I don't know.
Welcome to if you join, you get billed at the end of the month, which means you get access to stuff for the next month. Yes, it's complicated.
Well, we could change it to the other way, but then it would complicate things in another way.
The other thing is also complicated.
So we just have to stick with the current system. It's the best we can do.
TLDR, the other version that Patreon allows is get paid when you sign up. So if you sign up on the 28th of the month, you get billed for the month. Then at the end of the month, you get billed for the next month. And thus you would get billed the full amount for a month for being like a participant of our Roll4It community for only 2 days, which we think is a bit bullshit.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's a problem. But also, we're stuck between two options, and they're both bad. It's a real problem.
The other option they floated was each person rolls every month consecutively. They run from the date that they started to the date they started to the date they started. And everyone rolls separately, but then the billing costs are higher because everyone gets charged to be billed separately and gets transactioned separately, and the transaction costs are higher. And then it penalizes people at like the $1 tier, and we don't get as much, anywhere near as much from the $1 tier. We could probably be vaguely okay with it, but it would be a little
that would make delivering monthly rewards a nightmare because you've got to work out who is in what month and how it all counts.
I don't think that the monthly stuff would change.
Not necessarily, because everyone who would be be on the Patreon would be paid.
Yeah. It wouldn't complicate it that much on our end. It would complicate it on their end, but we'd also potentially make less money.
It would complicate a little bit if we have like our Legend one shots different times in the month.
Yes,
slightly.
If we have them on the 25th one month and the 30th next month, then that's
we would have to have it on the same day every month or something
Which
like that.
Which is what Patreon tried to do last year and got massively yelled at for, and then rolled it back.
But
they did it without consent
right now, and they did. Yeah, it's just dumb to keep.
Which is basically what I think they're doing now to the new people who subscribe after, I think, new patrons are made after like the certain date, but old patrons are still in the old system, which is us. Segue over.
And that's the Patreon things.
You can tell that I'm like the CEO, CFO.
Yeah, Patreon is making changes, but we're exempt from them right now, which is probably for the best.
We get founder tier status, which is more money, but if we upgrade, we get priority answering of help emails. It's like, mate.
No, we get that now. It's great. Currently, everyone counts as this same tier, and one of the tier's things is priority support. And we're like, so everyone is in this tier. Who gets priority? When everyone's super, no one will be.
You are very important to us. You are 25th in the queue.
Patreon. It's mostly okay.
Mostly.
Moving on to our Twitch stuff. Twitch has actually been really good for us starting in March and going forward. Having a new show always boosts our viewership on that front. Nothing too crazy, primarily because on Twitch for Sunday, we're now competing with some of the other bigger shows that have restarted their seasons. Ooh. So it's that's kind of something that we're always watching and looking at, and we can see that those things affect our viewership. So we actually went up by 100 for our peak viewers. We went to 411 versus 306, which is cool. For our average viewership, we went up by 218 from 215. We've gained 178 followers, which puts us at 14,225. So I'm getting close to my 15,000 marker that I would really like to get to. And we had 10.9K views versus our 8.7 from the last month. So generally, we're doing really good. We're at 462 points on for sub points, so we're getting closer. The next emo slot is 700 points. It's ridiculous.
It's because we got a lot of gift subs all in one go, and they pushed us over. I do not mind one bit.
Oh, I don't mind where we're at. It's just to get to the next tier is so many points.
I want more emotes.
I
want
see
more
the
emotes.
emotes we've got as a gift.
But they're fun to have more. We need a dumpster
I must
fire.
have more.
Have you seen me? I talk in emotes. That's like my existence.
That's same.
Yeah, she does.
And I'll let you, EE, take over the YouTube and chat about that.
We gained 289 subs. We got a total now of 13,656 subs. And our most viewed episode last month was Masks Episode 1 with 8,521 views. Which was
Someone finally
followed,
beat VTM.
Which was followed very swiftly by VTM Episode 1 at almost 6,000.
It's still going.
That's half a year later.
It's actually 7.5 months since that episode.
Yeah, it's yeah, that happened.
It's like that came out in August last year, early August, and it's still going ridiculously strong and is our most viewed video ever.
By a
far.
good margin.
I hope the viewership for Masks stays continuing to go up because I really, really love that show so much. At the end of every episode, I'm like, can we just keep playing for another 4 hours?
I really enjoy Masks, but the downside is that the viewership on Twitch is, but that is a big sign of the fact we are competing with some pretty big outfits right now.
Yeah. And we know that we're looking at it because for us, we were like, oh, the viewership for episode 1 wasn't as high as we were looking, like as high as some of our other viewership for episode 1s have been.
The YouTube
but then
is pretty decent.
Yeah, YouTube's doing pretty decent. And so I was looking into it and I was like, oh, this is why. It's because we're competing against like these other 3 big shows.
I mean, it's also probably the amazing intro.
The intro is
Good
great.
intro.
Music by
I
Picture
still
Being Played.
really like the Stargate one. I think because there's live action in it. So
The problem with live
the
action is
Stargate-
there's
Stargate
such
one's
a...
the best live action one we've ever done.
Yeah, it's definitely
it's
the
the
best
only
live action.
live action one.
No, it isn't.
No, we did Pirates.
Pirates.
Oh.
And Layla.
And
We've
Layla.
done
Oh,
at
you're
least
right.
3.
And
You're right.
Avalon.
Yeah, we've done 4
right,
live
that's
action ones.
We've done more.
Yeah, I think that's all the live action. I think it's just the 4.
This is the first time we've ever done a non-live action one for a Sunday show.
Yeah, this is the first... Yeah, you're right.
You're right. Avalon was... I liked my Avalon one, but I had like a whole setup for that. I think the reason why I didn't like the Stargate one as much is because the situation that I was in when I was recording it. I'm like in a park with a bunch of kids in a like a suit. It was like a weird situation to be in. I was like, oh, people are looking at me. I'm like
I
a
managed
weird...
to find places where no one could see.
Yours is really
Running
good.
through trees. I was super proud of that. I'm like, this is the best live action stuff I've ever done.
I like EE's second one because it's funny.
Yeah, not many people noticed, but I actually had to do a lot of CGI on that one because I run behind the stone and it get hit by a blast from a staff weapon, and then the stone disappears and you can see through to sky, which means I had to take some sky from the sky and plant it behind the rock and then remove a bit of rock and get that, and then no one noticed. No one noticed, and I was like, okay, well I could have just not done that bit.
I didn't notice.
It's fine.
But
We
yeah,
were too busy like watching the fun thing of Garrick going, let's go over here. Wait, no, I'm being shot.
Yep. The problem with live action, of course, is you've got a cap on like how good it's going to look, because however good you make things look, you can't make footage that's recorded on a handy cam in poor lighting situations outside when you don't have a setup, or you don't have a certain you don't have a cameraman, especially in the case of me and Maggie, and you don't have this, that, and the other. You can't make that look any better, and you can't make footage look particularly crisp that is a little bit iffy and zoomed in to get rid of stuff in the corners and stuff like I did with Benson's footage. So what I did
If
compensate
we
was
got to a
I
point
overcooked it.
where we were recording like way in advance and we were planning way in advance, we could potentially have like all of us get together and then do all the recording so it's all on like nice cameras and stuff
all
like
of us
that.
get together. How would you and Lauren? You're quite far apart.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, me, Bentham, and Josh could do it.
Yeah.
We could have a shooting day.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It would have to be like a shooting day. Moving on to our next thing, which is our social media. So first of all, Twitter finally gave me back all the stats, so that's nice. It's back to normal. So this is gonna be a little weird, but we are currently at 391 followers, or 3,091 followers, which is really awesome. It's nice to see us over the 3K mark. We were over it last one too, so but now we're consistent. We're still moving up. We got 74 new followers. It feels good, man. Yay! I'm so hyped.
Got a lot of impressions.
And we had 427K impressions, which makes sense because we had a launch of a show. So last month there was some weirdness with the reply, like the replies versus mentions, but now it's back to mentions again, and we are at 230. So I don't know. I can't really tell you what the last month was because they changed the stat and then they realized that was dumb and changed it back. So. I don't know. Profile visits, we had 2,782, which is cool. It's nice always to see people. Our average is usually like 1.2K-ish. And then we have launches like this, it can hit the 3K plus marker. We had 80 tweets, which is cool. And our top tweet was actually our International GM Day, which is cool. It did really, really well. And I think we had International Women's Day one, and that one did really well as well, but it's not in our top. Our top mention was actually a tweet that I made with Miss Magitech in it, as well as Erika Ishii, if you know her, from LA by Night. Yeah. And we were at the Bloodlines 2 launch party, or like reveal party. They're announced, which was cool. And then our top media was actually a throwback to Roll4It Con. So that was nice. It was a photo of us with the whole group of people who showed up. So I still am shocked by how many people showed up to Roll4It Con, like just to meet us for like a dinner. Like that was so cool.
It was awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been really nice. So
I want to do another Roll4It Con.
Yeah.
Wait, we're doing the next Roll4It Con earlier in the year, aren't we?
I think the goal is potentially we're trying to start so our goal is to announce it earlier so that everyone can plan, get things situated and all of that stuff. So we're starting potentially planning that on our end. So if you're hardcore, you know that. So we'll start figuring that out on our end, and once we're ready to announce where, when, and how to be a part of that, we'll let you all know. There's some finance stuff we need to go over to figure out what we want to do, if we want to step it up or if we want to keep it similar to what we did last time, for budget concerns and stuff like that. So a lot of that goes into more businessy stuff.
I'm also just saying, who will be the next champion of the Star Games?
Star Games.
No.
I'm excited for the next Star Games. It's really fun.
Well, the debate is like who would go into the ring next time, by the way.
I don't know. We'll have to think about it. We'll have more characters even getting up to that point too, so let us know in the comments.
Put Spark in the ring. Put Spark in the ring.
Let us know in the comments. Oh my gosh, Spark in there would be insane.
No.
Yes.
Let us know in the comments below who you think so far of the characters that have been out in this year, and yeah, who you think should be a contender, and we'll keep that in mind.
Anyone up to August, I think. So Stargate and VTM are both valid.
Just around the corner, would it be?
Just around the corner. Were they valid picks for the last Star Games? I think they were valid picks. They just weren't picked.
Yeah, they were valid picks.
Yeah, so
you're right, because it was December.
Yeah, so it's only ongoing series. So it's VTM and Stargate. And onwards.
And masks.
Yeah. So those would be valid picks next
those
time.
and it doesn't have to be that many, because obviously we'll still have more shows coming in the year. So, but let us know who you think so far should be. I know a bunch of people said that they want the doggo, but the doggo is not a player character. It has to be a player character.
Also, side note, you can pick older characters to go in, which we did with Branda, but the majority have to be from the last year. So please try and include only one character maximum from beyond the last year.
All right. moving on to our Facebook stats, we still are at the same amount of reviews. We still got 5 stars. We're still doing all right. We've got 543 likes from our 536, so we're still going up. Our follows are at 581 from 572, still going up. And our last month's reach, it actually went down, but last month was a little weird, so I don't know what's going on, but it's at 1.5K, and then our engagement was 500. I think something's wonky with Facebook again. Facebook does some weird stuff. Like, I can never trust any of its stats. I actually had talked about possibly doing something where, like, export it and then do some weird things to make it auto-jumble. I have not had a chance to do that yet, though.
It's fine.
And so that wraps it up. That's all of the stuff that's going into what we did last month in March. And I think we talked a lot more business this time than we have in the past. I think because we're in business mode right now. Yeah. Because we are thinking about like Roll4It Con and future other things.
Also, VTM is ending in like 4 episodes actually. It's 3 episodes now, but you haven't seen this latest one in theory because this is the March video. So it's 3 since when we're recording it. And we're starting to gear up for the new thing. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. People have just spotted it on the Discord, so it's Project Song on the Discord. And we're definitely looking at people starting to...
That's why I was like, why do you keep bringing that up? We're not supposed to
People spotted it today during masks.
People have already seen it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And people are starting to like guess what it is. So please feel free to do the guessing and stuff. I really enjoy looking at what people think. Partly because it also gives me an idea of like what people want to see and what people would think would be good for the group in addition. And maybe some of these I haven't even heard of. So yeah, if you can successfully like guess what it is, you get the imaginary coconut, which literally does nothing.
It's really funny because I think a lot of people really want Mage.
Oh yeah. Obviously timetables is really difficult with the Sunday cast occasionally, but at some point we will probably do Mage. I think Mathis has the plan of doing the White Wolf trilogy, doing some VTM, Werewolf, Mage.
If you haven't noticed, just around the corner and VTM have links. So he has this whole universe built in his mind. We've definitely, with the Inquisition, implied that there's some stuff going on with that. So I think that you'll be seeing some stuff in the future, definitely down the line. But it all depends on like time frame and things of that sort, especially with Mathis being GM for those. So, but don't worry, we have no reason to. We will want to keep that cast together.
Yeah, don't worry.
So I think that we're going to wrap things up for our March recap. We will see you all in the next one, which will be our April recap. We're excited. We have a lot of things to plan and work out, and we hope that they all happen so that we can do some really, really cool things with Roll4It. I, at least from my perspective, recently when I was working on a lot of the sponsorship stuff and putting a deck together and all of that, it made me really realize like how great you two are to work with. So we've just been really lucky that we all get along, that even if we argue, like we can get in heated discussions and all just come back out of it.
I don't think it's arguing. I think it's heated discussions. I don't think we've ever had an argument. I think it's always heated discussions, which to be honest is pretty amazing, like considering
we always come out of it with a better plan, I think.
Oh yeah. Like any difference of opinion is never an argument. I think at worst it's been a heated discussion, maybe like twice or something. Like we've done a really, really good job. I think we've worked really well together. We've got like some excellent division of labor going on, and I think it's working really, really well. I'm incredibly happy. Speaking as someone who did all the work for a very long time, I'm so glad.
It's been awesome. And we hope that you all have been enjoying getting all of the rewards. We've been trying to be really good about and being diligent about getting those things out, and they're on our calendar every month, so we can't forget them, and pushing things out in a timely manner, and getting more content for you, and for supporting us, because obviously we wouldn't be able to do this without your support.
Let us know equally, by the way, if you think that we're getting too much content for you to really fully enjoy the content we're giving you. Like if you think there are too many rewards for all the tiers going out and you're like, well, I like having stuff, but also there's too much stuff for us to really fully embrace and check out and stuff, in which case like that's something that we'll be interested to hear, because we can always then cut down the amount we put out and just try and like increase the presentation of the few we put out to make them more digestible. And also, since we're on the talk of feedback, let us know what you're looking forward to in the next Roll4It Con in general. Like, if you want, like, the meal, the Star Games, or the show that was live, or, you know, the small board game stuff, or whatever, let us know what you like or what you want, or what you could want that we could possibly do. Bear in mind that we're very constrained in terms of a lot of things, but definitely that's great feedback.
Yeah,
Also,
and we'll be doing another feedback form at the end of the year again. I think that's at the end of the year every year. We're going to try to do that so that every new year we can revamp stuff and things of that sort.
1 hour. We have hit the 1 hour mark.
Yay! Of course, I think EE, you kind of got to say some things. I don't know if you have anything else to add on to that to wrap things up.
No, I think that's just, I would like to hear the feedback for those things.
Yeah, and then Bentham.
It's so good. It's so great. It's super fun working in Roll4It, and I'm super excited about all the shows.
Yay! So we'll see you all next month. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.